Hello and welcome to the Razer ThinkFast Cup number 2 here on HeflaTV 1. Hopefully we'll be able to get Patrico into this lobby quickly so we don't have to wait too long, but once he's here we're going to have a best of one between eu4ia and BD. I'm Grandis Sveen. I'm going to be joined by Mike Loris for this and for the future best of ones down the line.
We are actually working with a lot of stand-ins here. I know Grazine is definitely a stand-in. I'm pretty sure LeBron is a stand-in as well. Seen him in some other team, I don't remember. I think Shen might be real, but this is like a lot of not real eu4ia players. So that's not a great way to start the new tournament out.
No, definitely not. I have no idea what's going on with their lineup, and I haven't seen them that often as of late, so I have no idea what's going on with their roster, but it isn't the eu4ia that I've seen before.
Yeah, so it's definitely not going to be helpful for them. Well, I'm just going to look at some of their past games that they've played to see if this is definitely not what what they're usually running with. Sela is the only person who's actually on the team. So it's mostly not eu4ia. Like could we even call these guys eu4ia? We'll just call them not eu4ia going up against Beat Doxy, who I have actually never seen before. I have not even heard of them either, and I don't know who Doxy is, and I do not know why they want to beat him, her, or it.
Well, Beat Doxy came through the qualifiers, so they're pretty much an unknown team. Should be interesting to see them play, and it's also going to be interesting to see eu4ia, which is pretty much Sela +4.
So I don't think this is going to be. Hopefully for eu4ia, it's not like a long-lasting thing. It's just today. Isn't Grazine on My Insanity? Isn't My Insanity also in this cup?
Yes, I want to say.
I don't know. It's been a while. My Insanity went through a lot of shuffling. No, he was on the team, I think. I haven't seen My Insanity in a long time. They've been AWOL. Maybe he is just like a freelance guy. Maybe these are just the replacements.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on with Beat Doxy though. We're we're just chilling as we wait for them to hopefully restart a PC or I don't know, get electricity to this guy's house. I really don't know why it would take you this long to
All right,
log
guys,
in.
but here's what we do because this is a new tournament for us at least. This is the first game of the tournament, and of course, this was supposed to start like a couple hours earlier, but much like any other tournament ever, there's going to be reschedules and delays. So we've already had that, but this is a new tournament. We got $10,000 prize pool. Got a land final in frickin' Serbia, and we have quite a few all-star teams here. You know, BBC. We got X Game, Vega, basically unknown, scary faces who've been doing remarkably well recently. Like they've been getting a lot of traction. Game Online, 4FC, London Conspiracy. This is like a real heavy tournament, and of course, big thanks to all the sponsors, Razer especially.
Razer and Nether Esports. Either way, this is a great way to start said tournament with a long, long delay. Hey! As soon as I
Oh,
talk about it, he's here.
can we play Dota? Is that
Maybe.
what we're here to do? I think it might be what we're here to do, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Okay, well,
Well,
are they really here? Because loading in all your players is one thing, but you actually got to start drafting. There we go. IO first ban, and we are off to the races.
yeah, we are, and well, Patrico begs not to be reported. He is going to be in this game, and well, hopefully it proceeds with no major issues. IO first ban is pretty interesting, especially since we haven't seen this Euphoria lineup too. But it might just be something that Beat Doxy aren't comfortable playing against, and with a Viper first ban, already this draft is off to a pretty peculiar start.
Yeah, this is not something that we ordinarily see. The Sniper and IO, I think, are first bans that you could probably justify, but Wraith King and Viper, yeah, I mean, I think just by the way qualifiers work in these types of tournaments, usually the teams that are invited have yeah a decent edge on the qualifying teams just as far as raw skill level is concerned. But I don't know if it's this much. Like you can't afford to be throwing away your bans on heroes that might be picked up in fourth or fifth spot, but are definitely not picked up first and second.
Yeah, this is going to leave the powerhouse that is Troll Warlord to be first picked up by Beat Doxy, and this is a hero that, even if there is a skill discrepancy, can still do quite a bit, but eu4ia are going to waste no time snap picking up a Lina and a Sand King. Pretty interesting start from them, and it's going to angle them pretty aggressively once they get a Blink Dagger up from the SK. Presumably, the Lina is going to be going for mid. Beat Doxy will snag up the Zeus second.
Yeah, so this is a pretty interesting way to start things off for eu4ia. It is possible that they're going to be running some sort of dual lane setup with these two heroes. The fact that they pick them up first and second would more indicate that, but it is possible that they just send the Lina towards the mid lane, put the Sand King on the pseudo roam slash jungling type strategy, and then they'll just be happy with that, and they just really wanted to play with these heroes. But I don't know, whenever you pick up heroes first and second, they either have to be really, really freaking powerful, i.e. Troll Warlord, Sniper, Axe, or you have to have a really significant plan with them, i.e. like Bat Rider, Io, Lina, Sand King. So this is going to be an interesting start for eu4ia, which would beat Doxy, Zeus, Troll Warlord. Maybe they're going to have a support Zeus in this game. Maybe they're just going to be putting a Troll Warlord safe. Either way, definitely a lot more traditionally powerful heroes.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we'll have to see what they're going to be most scared of in the second banning stage. I think Lion's a reasonable ban. Having both Lina and Lion on the same team is pretty disgusting whenever you just Laguna and finger somebody. It's a lot of fun to watch them just crater a hero, but it is a scary amount of burst damage. Although it would have left their supporting duo being pretty greedy, I can understand it. Broodmother's going to be the ban from eu4ia, and after some pretty unconventional bans, I think Brood is completely fine. Even though Sand King's pretty good against Broodmother later on in the game, very early on, can struggle zoning her out.
Right, we got Brood and Lion going to be the bans out. It is going to be pretty hard to beat Doxy to ban out heroes up against what eu4ia have so far done with their draft, since we have no idea what they're doing. I'm pretty sure Beat Doxy don't have much of a clue either. Just got to get rid of heroes that would be, I guess, just annoying to play against. Like Lion does do pretty well with Lina, does do fantastically with Sand King. Bottom line, eu4ia are going to have a hell of a lot of crowd control, so Beat Doxy are going to have to worry about that quite a bit.
Yeah, they'll settle on the Bristleback ban, and that's fair enough. I don't think there's really much we can read into these bans more than Beatossi just don't want to play against these heroes. Because Lina Sand King, although it's a decent opener coming out from eu4ia, it's by no means standard, and it's also pretty hard to counter. You don't know necessarily how they're going to lane them. There is potential for them to shake up these lanes a little bit, maybe throw the Sand King towards the off lane if they really want to. Lina's presumably going mid, but they have different ways that they could swing.
Right, Broodmother and Axe, usually a duo of heroes that counter each other, or one that counters the other, but both going to be banned out right now. I think the Axe ban is probably a little bit more understandable. I don't really know if you would ban the Broodmother when you already have Alina Sand King. Usually teams go towards both of these heroes, actually, if they know that they're going to be going up against a Brood, as Sandstorm early on is a great way at passively zoning out the Broodmother, and down the line, having a Blink Dagger Initiator, put some dust or a gem on the Sand King, and he's going to be great versus that Broodmother. So eu4ia just definitely don't want Broodmother.
Well then, we'll just have to wait until eu4ia picks up their hero. Honestly, I have no idea what's going through their mind when it comes to these next couple of picks, and yeah, it's completely up to them. After first picking up the Lina and Sand King so quickly, it seems that they just want to pick things that they're comfortable with.
So what are they comfortable with? You would think that if that was their strategy, they would just be slam picking whatever they really want right now. But they're clearly not. I mean, they do have, I guess, some powerful heroes to worry about. Though Troll Warlord, Zeus, the amount of counterplay that's involved against these heroes isn't really like hero specific. If you are playing up against a Storm Spirit, you get crowd control. If you are playing against any high mobility heroes, you get stuns. If you are playing against soft heroes, you get damage. But for Beat Doxy, they have pretty balanced heroes, so I guess balanced heroes equals balanced response with the Wind Ranger?
Yeah, pretty much. It's going to offer them a lot of damage if Wind Ranger builds into some more carry items, I suppose, this game, and does give them a decent amount of scaling DPS through the game, although, as we said, it is a very balanced hero. Throughout the game, Wind Ranger is going to be able to offer some nice amount of utility, decent amount of wave clear, presumably going towards the offlane.
Yeah, so it is, once again, another hero with another form of crowd control. The odds of Lina actually whiffing an LSA in this game going to be pretty darn low, as pretty much everyone will have some sort of tool to set things up. Eu4ia also have a decent amount of lane control with these heroes. They're not like lane powerhouses, but they could get the job done. And beat Doxy, they're going to have to grab some sort of significant stun if they want to actually shut down the Wind Ranger in lane. Venge, Scarith Mage, both still in the pool, and typically both those heroes do pretty well at zoning out a Wind Ranger. Also, Witch Doctor if they want to go down that route.
Yeah, for sure. 30 seconds on the clock for Beat Doxy to select their next pick. I think one of those safe supports that you mentioned would be wonderful for them, and Earthshaker's no exception. This is going to give them a long-range stun. It's potentially going to buy them enough time to bridge the gap between the Lina and the Troll, and once that happens, Troll can very easily kill off the Lina, if that is our mid-lane matchup, or maybe they're going against Zeus, regardless. And also another way that they can use to cancel Epicenter, especially early on before Blink Dagger comes out, although that's probably not going to be the case.
Yeah, the Earthshaker, though he doesn't really excel at messing with the Wind Ranger in lane, if you're going to go for a kill on the Wind Ranger, then having a fissure block is the way that you want to do it. High mobility, of course, that with that evasion when she actually casts that wind run, but if there's nowhere to wind run to, well, then she's probably just going to die. Even if your other support may be a Zeus who doesn't necessarily contribute any CC, just pure damage. So it's a pretty reasonable pick for Beat Doxy. If necessary, they'll be able to protect a mid lane matchup, but I don't really think that's going to be the case, as Troll Lina seems to be a pretty decent lane for Troll. We got a Morphling here for Eu4ia, and I still don't have any idea like how they're going to be handling these lanes, but support slash stun Morphling is all the rage nowadays, so maybe they're just going to go for that.
I would personally love to see them go for just the traditional carry Morphling this game. I think they have more than enough control to where actually going for the stunning Morphling isn't the most attractive, but it's also not the worst. They have some amount of damage that's coming to the table with Wind Ranger and Lina, both if they're getting some amount of farm. Batrider going to be the next pickup for Beat Doxy, pretty late here. And, well, it's a completely reasonable one. It's going to give them a way to start fights, although some of these heroes are pretty slippery on Eu4ia, most notably the Morphling. Right now, there's no silences or natural Orchid carriers that they have to deal with Strength Morph.
Just like one stun from Earthshaker, a stun from Batrider, and try to just burst them down with the Zeus, I suppose. But that's definitely not the best way at handling a Morphling. You maybe don't have to counter him too much if he's going to go for that pseudo support role. Abaddon, Legion Commander, to buff out the stun would be nice for Beat Doxy. I don't know if they are comfortable with that. I don't know if they're going to be going down that strategy. But Eu4ia, I mean, they have okay answers to the Batrider. Wind Ranger, the Shackle Shot is actually pretty decent. Blink Burst can cancel out Batrider initiation, but this bat maybe is going to go up against a Vengeful Spirit still. Who knows what Eu4ia want to do with these heroes?
Yeah, Vengeful Spirit Last would not be terrible for Eu4ia by any means. They have a lot of flexibility when it comes to their lanes and who's actually going to be farming. We are going to see that Vengeful Spirit Last banned out by Beat Doxy, and I think that's completely reasonable. I think the scariest thing that Eu4ia are going to have to counter-initiate the Batrider is a Eul's coming out from Lina at the moment, so maybe they do want to pick up something else in order to deal with it somewhat.
Well, there aren't that many heroes that effectively deal with the Batrider. Venge, Earthshaker, Rubik would have been one for Eu4ia to possibly consider, but they themselves banned it out. So clearly that's not significantly crossed their minds, at least as far as dealing with this bat. Maybe they're just not scared of the Batrider. If the Morphling is going to go for this pseudo support stun role, then the Batrider blinks into a stun. You're not going anywhere, even if you do have a Force Staff. It's going to be a Slark for Eu4ia. A little bit more late game damage, although between the Slark, Wind Ranger, and the Lina, their damage output is going to be pretty darn high.
Yeah, these lanes are still completely unknown by Eu4ia, though. There's a lot of room for them to shuffle around these heroes. I would like to see them give the Morphling farm, throw the Wind Ranger towards the offlane, and maybe have Slark mid, or switch around the Slark or Morphling as you please, and then have Lina as a support. Even though it's not something that we see very often right now, as Lina mid is all the rage, but I think that that would probably serve them better, as a farm Morphling and Slark is really hard to deal with if you're Beat Doxy, and I think, although giving the Lina an earlier Yule Scepter, Blink, and Aghanim Scepter is nice, I'm not sure it's nice enough to outweigh the fact that you could be getting a farm Morph.
Yeah, Troll Warlord can handle one of those okay. Like if he's going mano a mano versus Morphling, yeah, he'll do a good job. Same thing with the Slark, but up against both of them, that might be a little bit too much to ask. It's a Templar Assassin for Beat Doxy as they grab their last hero. Probably are going to send that Troll Warlord into the safe lane now, and I don't know. I mean, Templar Assassin's very good up against Lina if Lina is going to be matchup in mid, but Templar Assassin not that great versus the Wind Ranger. pure physical based hero, Templar Assassin can't do anything once the Wind Run is active. And Slark does have a pretty great way of burning through those refraction charges, as does Sand King. So I don't really know how much I like this Templar Assassin.
Yeah, we'll just have to see how it pans out for them. Right now, I have no idea how these lanes are going to shake down for eu4ia, as really I don't know how their team synergy is going to be affected by this amount of stand-ins. So we'll just have to see. I think it's safe to assume that Slark's going to be safely in farming, but that's about it. Either way, let's go ahead and introduce our teams on the Radiant side of the map. eu4ia is going to be taking the helm there with Zan playing on the Morphling, LeBron, Dota on the Sand King, Grazine on the Slark, Lina played by Real Toxie, and last but not least, that'll be Sella on the Wind Ranger.
And for the Beat Doxy side, we got Anaxadora playing the Troll Warlord. Sadika is going to be handling the Zeus support. Mighty is going to be on the Shaker support, and seemingly going towards the mid lane. It's, yeah, I'm back grass to back. That's actually not too hard to say, but of course you had to do the alternating caps to make it so hard to read. And then, of course, the last person to reconnect, it's going to be Petrico on the offlane Batrider.
But Smoke coming out from eu4ia, they do have a plethora of lockdown at level 1. I don't think there's very many heroes that can survive this amount of CC. If they can connect with the Burrow Strike, which is possible with Boots First on the Sand King. Although this could be a pretty big skirmish, I'd expect eu4ia to come out on top, especially if they come from this angle. They might even bumping into Anaxadora on the Troll Warlord. Although he has the Zeus and Earthshaker and Templar Assassin behind him, pretty much all that they can do if he gets gone on is defensively Earthshaker Fissure, and they are going to drop one. It blocks off the 4 heroes that are coming to help out LeBron. LeBron's going to be slowed down by the ranged axes, but the waveform over the top is going to land. Nice shackle over onto 2 as Anaxadora is going to be focused down by the Morphling. The damage just isn't there, however, as Zan is now in a whole heap of trouble. He doesn't have enough mana for another waveform and might end up going down, forced to salve up. He is going to buy himself enough space as Grazine and now the Templar Assassin are going to fight for the bounty rune. They'll get it, but possibly at the cost of their own lives. Beautiful fissure block, forcing Grazine to go towards the north, and that's going to be a Bastard Krastovac to get the first blood.
And Mighty there, delivering that team fight to his team on a silver platter, even though eu4ia got like a 3-man waveform, a 2-man LSA, and a shackle shot to connect. They did it a little bit too late. The Burst Strike essentially was wasted. It was just being used as a damage tool there, and 100 damage isn't too bad at this early stage of the game, but still, there was no follow-up to that Burst Strike, and really the follow-up to the following forms of crowd control was very limited as well. So Beat Doxy on the back of this Earthshaker with some great fissures are going to take first blood. I think they also do get, well, they get 1 bounty rune, so 1 for the Batrider, 1 for the Slark, but the Batrider wasn't even involved in that, I don't think. He was on the bottom lane, so that's a pretty large win for Beat Doxy. Well, now we get to see how these lanes are going to unfold. It looks like we're mostly right. Wind Ranger mid, not Lina, but I think that's about what you said before.
Yeah, definitely so. Offlane Morphling is going to have a little bit of a difficult time in this lane. The amount of zoning power that Beatdoxy have is pretty threatening, especially until he gets higher levels. He only has 1 waveform at his disposal, and now is almost hat out of regen, so I'd expect him to drop pretty low and maybe even get up a kill, although it is pretty hard since they only have Fissure to lock him down, and as long as he saves his waveform for that, he should be fine. Mid lane, Wind Ranger versus Templar Assassin, at least for the time being, is going pretty well for the TA. The range advantage from the Wind Ranger isn't doing enough, as we still don't have a bottle up for Sella, and won't for a long time. The extra damage that TA is bringing to the table is pretty huge. Down towards bottom, even though the Batrider might get zoned out, he has level 3, and is going to be able to fall back into the woods, as Earthshaker is prepping some stacks.
And that's probably going to be just what the Shaker does for the early stage in the game. He doesn't really need to be there in the mid lane to set up for kills on the Wind Ranger. If you land a Fissure, most likely that's all you're going to be landing, just because Templar Assassin has to close in and then actually right-click the Wind Ranger, and then by that time, Wind Run is definitely going to be available. So Shaker is on jungling duty, so both the Templar Assassin and the Batrider will get some pretty heavy benefits from that. They can clear out those stacks, and that's a lot of acceleration that really eu4ia are kind of working with, although it looks like they might end up getting their stack stolen by Petrico.
Yeah, and that's a lot of economic damage done. Not only is that really good for the Batrider, it's also really bad for the Sand King. It's going to slow down his Blink Dagger by quite a bit. With 6 stacks of the Napalm, this double stack is going to be very easily farmed by Petrico, although it is going to put him at a pretty low amount of HP. Burrow Strike snags both of the large creeps, so that's actually alright for the Batrider, because now Petrico has to go back to base, or at the very least, use his bottle.
Yeah, but still, the Batrider effectively takes some experience away from the Sand King. And when you're a very early game Sand King, you need every single scrap of experience you get to that level 3 Sandstorm, or level 2 Sandstorm rather, and then you could actually effectively jungle, as level 1 Sandstorm jungling is a nightmare. You never really want to be doing it. Sometimes you have to, but you really would like to avoid it if all possible. Grazine is going to have a free roll down towards the bottom lane as he's going up against essentially no heroes. Batrider can't do that much for against the Slark except for fill his magic stick. But similarly up towards top, Naxodora is up against no one on this top lane. Shen, as far as Morphling's presence in an off lane, it's limited to say the least. He can't really do anything except for try not to die.
Yeah, and usually he's pretty good about that, but this game, I think, is a pretty poor one for this offlane Morphling. Every time he's forced to use his waveform, he pretty much has to go all the way back to base. They're going to get a Burrow Strike down towards bottom on a Patricio. Follow up with the LSA. Is the damage going to be there? The Pounce is going to connect just on the edge, and that'll be the death of the Batrider. Well executed by eu4ia.
Oh man, that was a very, very close pounce, but if that pounce did not connect, that Batrider would have for sure gotten away down to the low ground, and then he probably would have been home free. So Slark keeping his distances and spacing pretty tight, and it's going to get him a kill. iMighty is actually going to arrive into this lane now, and they do have some pretty good ward protection, so this third Shaker might not do that much down here. I mean, having a little bit of extra experience while the Batrider isn't soaking it up, but yeah, I don't think iMighty is actually going to do anything. Maybe they're going to try to apply some pressure to the Sand King. The Sand King doesn't really have that many stacks to work with, so his life is already pretty difficult. But as far as actually killing him off, that is going to take another hero or different heroes for the dire side.
Yeah, for sure. At this point, Earthshaker and Batrider are very limited when it comes to their damage output. Earthshaker is now going to sit behind mid, but honestly, a Templar Assassin doesn't need that much help. Against the Wind Ranger, she's denying pretty much everything. Currently sitting at 21 and 17. This is really hurting the Wind Ranger's experience. Currently almost a full level behind.
Yeah, and that's gotta hurt. Once the Templar Assassin gets any sort of hero to come in, whether it is that Shaker or maybe that Zeus or maybe a Batrider with Blink, then getting a kill on this Wind Ranger, bursting her down, grabbing her in the lasso before she could wind run is a real possibility. But you know, even though that is a threat, it's not a threat just yet. Raskovac has to still wait, and you can't really go for a Wind Ranger kill because Wind Run is such a great hard counter to the Templar Assassin.
Yeah, very much. Making it hard for her to bridge the gap and, more importantly, giving you that mischance. And all of the damage coming up from TA at any point in the game is purely from right clicks. Over inside the woods, Batrider going to get caught out again. This time the Pounce is not going to be on the mark, but the damage is still there with 3 points up in that Dark Pack. Grazine able to snag that kill, and with it, he's going to think it's comfortable enough to get a Midas. He has the recipe in the stash.
I think he's probably correct. He has 2 kills to his name, though he did die for first blood. That was before the creeps really spawned, so he didn't really miss out much there. The Troll Warlord is farming faster than the Slark, but we don't really see that many Troll Warlords go for Hands of Midas. In fact, I don't know if we ever see it. It's usually, if you're going to be going for a farming item on Troll Warlord, it's going to be a lifesteal item, Helm of the Dominator, so that you could jungle a little bit faster, and Slark typically never goes for that item. So this is probably a perfectly justified build from Grazine. Hand of Midas is usually considered a greedy item. I don't think it's the case in this game.
Yeah, I think it's completely alright. Zan up towards top lane's playing a pretty dangerous game. At level 3, opts for 2 points into the waveform. That's really going to hurt this Morphling, and maybe even dies here. Caught in the corner. He's bringing in TP support, but it's not enough to save his life. Lina is there. The Dragon Slave will connect, but an Axadora is going to be just fine. Oh, his self gets cancelled by a tower shot. That's actually a pretty big blow by the Troll Warlord. I think he was okay to live through that.
Yeah, it looked like he was just fine, and he just thought that he wasn't okay. So I guess it's better to be safe than sorry. Still has 2 tangos to work with, and he has 1,300 gold in the bank, so he can buy that Morbid Mask to juice up a little bit of HP. But Naxodora playing things extra cautiously, and can't really blame him for that. You don't really want to die diving in offlane Morphling. That's just not what you want to be doing ever. But Shen is getting a little bit of experience. He is level 4 right now. Usually with these morph builds, waveform is more of a luxury and a mobility tool than anything else. Over towards mid, they're going to try to go for this Wind Ranger. LSA does land. Shackle will not, though. Nothing to latch Patrico to. There's a Fissure, though. It's going to latch Celebrava on the other side of it. Dragon Slave through might end up killing this Batrider, although Celebrava sitting in the fire will get the kill and then die. So the Wind Ranger making something out of not much, as the Beat Doxy side have to rotate a whole bunch of heroes into the mid lane.
Yeah, even pulling the troll off the lane, that's going to give Morphling a lot of much needed space to getting him to level 5. With this build, Zan isn't going to come online fully until he gets level 8, which is pretty unfortunate for him. Well, actually at level 7, as long as he forgoes Replicate, he's going to be just fine. But he is going to get there reasonably slowly. But yeah, Beatoxy probably overreact to that, as in the meantime Slark's also farming it away. He'll have his completed Ring of Aquila coming out to him any second now.
If they made that exact same play towards the Slark, I would say that's probably more justified since this is a very problematic hero. Whereas for the Wind Ranger, yeah, she's dangerous. I'm not going to say otherwise, but she's not as dangerous. Shen up towards top is going to drop very, very low. Templar Assassin's one more hit will kill off that Morphling. Now going towards Real Toxie with a couple more of those high damage hits from the TA. Plus 107 with that extra refraction damage. They'll grab a double up on this top lane. And this top lane, I mean, I don't think eu4ia really expected this to be anything different, but at a certain point, they can't really afford to send anyone additional up there. Down towards bottom lane, though, Stika is going to get pounced by Grazine. Pact is going to do a lot of damage, but not quite enough. Zeus gets to live.
Needed one more attack there. Unfortunate for Grazine that he doesn't get it, but still there's not anything they can do to respond to this Slark. He's level 9 and their raw amount of lockdown at this point, until they get a Blink Dagger on the bat, just isn't enough to punish this dive. So Slark is going to back off into the fog, heal back up, and continue his farming. Up towards top, let's see. Anaxadora does have that Morbid Mask. I'd expect him to look for a couple more jungle creeps, and maybe this gives them a little bit of space for the Earthshaker, but then again, maybe it gives a little bit too much space to Zan, as this Morphling might be able to catch up some of the slack if they do make that full rotation.
Sand King has been jungling pretty much for this entire time, so Beatoxy, maybe forgetting about this threat that is just waiting to pop out from eu4ia's jungle, now does have a Blink Dagger and a TP scroll. I think he's probably going to go towards the bottom lane, kill off the Zeus, although trying to go for the Templar Assassin is also something that the Sand King would like to do. It's not something that he can easily do with the Wind Ranger there. You don't really want to be sandstorming, although going towards top, that's not what I expected. Killing Troll Warlord is definitely the best kill for eu4ia to take, but it's also the hardest kill because iMighty is camping this top lane pretty hard.
They'll have to wait for Zan to clarity up as well. This is not happening, I want to say. They're channeling the IP. They're going to go for it with the Blink Burrow. They catch out Anaxadora and actually are able to connect with that kill. It looks like BD did not expect that either, and for good reason. A really clean kill from eu4ia that I didn't expect to be so clean.
Yeah, right on the edge of that smoke dispel range, you get the epicenter channel. I thought that he wasn't even going to commit the epicenter, just try to burst strike him, but Troll Warlord wasn't exactly healthy to start things out, so eu4ia do end up getting away with that, and Shaker's Fissure, though it did come, was way too late. Shaker, though, getting a lot of farm, so he's level 5 himself. It is going to be the first rotation from the Sand King, showing off his new clean Blink Dagger, and maybe get some blood on it. He doesn't have enough mana for anything else. It's the downside of using that epicenter. You're pretty much completely useless right afterwards as far as your mana pool is concerned. But LeBron is on a good start to actually doing something for his team as far as this support Sand King is concerned.
Yeah, and he'll find himself yet another stack after the fact. Conversely, for BD, they have a Blink Dagger up for their bat. He smoked a little prematurely, so maybe he won't be able to use this smoke to its fullest extent, but he's going to try similarly down for bottom. Deep dive from Grazine. Maybe they can punish this one, but the bat's a little far away. He's going to be able to get the ultimate up, but burning in the fire and the flames. Grazine's dropping very low. He's going to come out of his ultimate, pounces away, barely surviving. Do they have a little bit more chasing power? They do. One auto attack from the Bat Rider is going to be enough, and they get the tower denial as Zeus takes that out.
Man, that was an extremely aggressive play from the Slark. If you're going to take the tower, then just go ahead and take the tower. Don't try to get the Zeus on top of it. That's very greedy and very, very easily punished by the Beatoxy side, as they do bring in that Bat Rider, and they also bring in the Templar Assassin. Those two heroes just nails in eu4ia's coffin right now, and well, Slark, I guess, yeah, that was just a massive failure. He didn't even get the tower. It was denied by the Zeus, so you jump in, feed a couple of heroes, you lose that tower gold, and Beatoxy should be feeling pretty comfortable in this game, with the exception of the Slark. Not much is going fantastically for eu4ia. I guess the Sand King Blink Dagger is also nice, but yeah, he's going to have to make some insane plays if he's going to redeem the fact that Beatoxy have a 5/0/0 Templar Assassin, a Blink Dagger on Bat Rider, and a free farming Troll.
Yeah, which is very scary. Sela is one of the heroes on the side of eu4ia that hasn't been doing that much, although it's really hard to. I would like to see the Wind Ranger get active some way, shape, or form. And bottom, the Blinkin Lasso, pull back the Slark, and Echo Slam him for good measure. He's able to get the Purge off and the ultimate. That should buy Grazina enough time to escape, and he is going to do so. The turnaround potential is there, potentially. That's a lot of potentials, but either way, he's going to walk through the Firefly, canceling his Blink Dagger, walking right into a TA. No detection on the ground. No, they'll stun up the Templar Assassin. Channel at the epicenter. The Zeus ultimate's going to be there, but the damage is more than enough, and it's going to be LeBron to end the mega kill spree of the Templar Assassin. Looks like they won't be able to chase for any more, although Sella is here. The Bat Rider is going to bump right into her, dropping a stack of napalm as Sella's now slowed down and getting chased out by the Zeus, pulling forward by the Bat Rider. They have a bolt. They have a flame break. She's not going to try to TP. She doesn't even have one. They'll drop the Firefly and chase down Sella, but a Blinkin Burrow Strike catches out two with a Morphling Adaptive Strike. They should be able to get Sidisa. Sidisa is going to end up going down. Now chasing forward for LeBron. LeBron going to be burned down inside the Firefly, punched down by the Earthshaker, and that's going to be a 2-for-2 trade, all things considered.
Well, Wind Ranger does end up killing off that tower in the mid lane in the meantime, but Anaxodora, not being any part of that fight, was also able to take down a tier 1 of his own. So a whole bunch of kills being traded, a whole bunch of towers being traded. Morphling getting a nice little win from that one, gets a kill on the Zeus, and now is more or less fully online. He doesn't have the highest strength morphing ability, so his ability to surf at low amounts of HP is limited at best, but he still has that level 4 stun, which was enough to destroy the Templar Assassin, giving that kill over towards the Sand King. Not exactly ideal for eu4ia, but hey, they end the Templar Assassin's kill spree. That's a lot of extra gold for the side of eu4ia.
Yeah, that extra gold is going to propel Sand King towards Arcane Boots, I want to say, and although not the most impactful item, it's still going to be really nice to help sustain the Slark in particular, who is going to be going for Shadow Blade. Grazine, although he's died a handful of times, is still farming at a breakneck pace, and is keeping his position at the top of the net worth chart, so he's going to have that Shadow Blade flying out to him probably in the next couple of minutes.
Braun going to run into Naxodora, instantly into the Sandstorm, and then Adaptive Strike. Look at that Sandstorm damage, it's so high. He Burrow Strikes in, Shan has a level 2 waveform, that's about all he has. Needs a couple more right clicks to kill off this troll, but Morphin doesn't do that much damage. Wind Ranger coming in with a power shot, though, is going to kill off that troll. Now they're going to go for I Mighty. Got hit with the Adaptive Strike. That's a really long stun. Shackle not going to connect, but the damage might be there regardless. I Mighty will die to another power shot. They're going to lose LeBron in the process, though, as Pacheco does get in there with the Firefly. However, Shackle to a tree now, focus fired, and then chain stunned by this Morphling. It's going to be a 1-for-3 trade with Sella taking every single one of those kills. That's a huge exchange in favor of eu4ia. That's going to give Wind Ranger her Maelstrom and about 1,000 gold on top of it.
The power of the support Morphling is being seen, but now he's probably going to be at the receiving end of a death, as Zan TPs into the mid-tier 1 tower with hardly any HP. One Meld Strike will secure the end of his life, but maybe he's baited enough. Nobody cancel his TP from the Slark, and, well, the Templar Assassin's going to be able to make it out alive. But still, the amount of stunning in that last fight was ridiculous. BD could not move. Between the Burrow Strike and the Morphling stun, there was really not any opportunities for them to leave at all, with 2-second stun coming out for the Burrow Strike on a 12-second cooldown and a 4-second stun on a 10-second cooldown. They were locked in place eternally. And then you add a Shackle shot, which is also ridiculous. Yeah, there's really just no room to wiggle if BD are caught out alone like that.
And eu4ia also have Alina. Like, there is another stun on their team that has so far not really been doing a high amount for the team. Just hit level 6, so Laguna Blade is up online for the real Toxie. But, yes, the Lina can add a 3rd stun or a 4th stun to that insane combo that we just saw. And for the Dire side, they're going to need their BKBs. Templar Assassin is working on that one first. Troll Warlord would love to grab that Sanjin Yasha, but hell, the sooner you get BKBs, the sooner you can actually fight. So I don't know if that's going to be his order of business. It's going to be a tower destroyed in exchange for what looks like Roshan. However, over towards mid, Sadika's going to get hit with the first stun. Now the Laguna Blade should be thrown towards the Zeus unless... No, yes, there's no mana on the Lina. That could be problematic, so they don't end up getting that Zeus kill. Lina has to back off. LeBron in the area is going to get jumped on by the Bat Rider. Haste Rune, though, a little bit hesitant on that lasso, is going to let LeBron jump away.
In the meantime, Grazine snags the Aegis, but maybe at the cost of his own life. He's going to start running away. He does have a pack. There is a trap, however, right in front of him. He will be able to pounce away from it, although he's slowed down. I think he's going to be alright here. There's no detection on the TA. He'll make it to the safety of his tier 1 tower. But still, that does take away the Aegis advantage. But regardless, BD do get that extra infusion of gold, and their Templar Assassin is getting to a really scary spot. Her BKB is really soon incoming. Patrico gets jumped on with the Shadow Blade damage. Grazine's going to do quite a bit. There's an Epicenter being channeled, but a beautiful fissure. What whether intentional or not, cancels the initiation from LeBron. Shackle's going to connect onto 2, and they'll stun up Templar Assassin with an adaptive strike for good measure with the Maelstrom, and the focus fire. TA is going to be dropped low, but again, we're running into an issue with no detection on the enemy team. Power shot, long range, snipes out the bat. But the Morphling is going to be able to make it out alive. In the end, it's a 1-for-1 as Troll Warlord takes a tier 1 tower in mid, not being involved in that skirmish.
It's so weird to just look at these inventories and not see any detection at all. Like, you're going up against the Sand King. By this point, BeatDoxy definitely know that Grazine has a Shadow Blade. So you guys need dust, you need sentries. And similarly, Templar Assassin does have that meld, which ordinarily isn't really the best tool at saving your life, especially up against all this blind AoE that eu4ia have. In fact, all of their heroes have some sort of way of hitting the Templar Assassin, even though she may be melded. It's just going to buy her those small seconds, and that is going to allow her to survive. So, got to get some True Sight, guys, and whoever gets True Sight is almost guaranteed additional kills. Up towards top, though, Shan is going to join up with the Sand King. Epicenter was okay in the last fight, but ran right into a fissure. They're not going to get the Troll Warlord, who is going to back off. With Sanyasha completed, his farm right now is pretty darn high.
Yeah, definitely so. Zan's going to be working towards the Yule Scepter on the Morphling. Whether for setup or for just disruption in the team fights could be pretty important. But yeah, the TA BKB is going to allow BD to fight a lot more comfortably. And I'd like to see them make some sort of aggressive move. But right now, their control is pretty limited across the map. If we take a look at the Dire's vision, it's only inside the mid lane, and really that's not keeping tabs on any of the eu4ia heroes.
Yeah, eu4ia have a little bit more of a widely spread array of wards, but that's not really going to last for very long. Patrico is going to grab the granddaddy of all detection in the gem, which is of course going to help versus that Slark and the Sand King, but also going to help secure them this bottom half of the map as far as their eu4ia's vision is concerned. Maybe BeatDoxy are going to go for a smoke now. They're kind of grouping up. Although, no, they just have Sella in their sights. This Wind Ranger is really hard to kill. She has a point booster, and she is well on her way towards her Ags. But BeatDoxy, they hesitate to get that smoke up. And that just might mean that Wind Ranger gets to back off and live.
Yeah, it looks like that's going to be the case, although with the smoke, BT could probably just transition into a straight push. Instead, they're going to hunt into the woods, and maybe Wind Ranger's not going to be safe after all. With the blink in, they'll open up with Fisher, they get the lasso after the fact, now Troll can wail onto her. That's going to be the end of her life. They'll drop a Zeus ultimate for scouting purposes almost exclusively, and spotted Alina alone in mid. But the rest of the team coming out from eu4ia is pushing up through top. Although Glyph's going to delay, they need to react to this push sooner rather than later, but not before taking a tier 1 tower in bottom. Although the counter Glyph coming out from eu4ia is going to be dropped, they're TPing their TA to the tower. Razine and Zan are there, they have an adaptive strike, are going to use it onto the Templar Assassin, stun for what feels like a million years, and everybody should be able to make it out alive. Zan's going to wait for him over the top and freely replicates back towards the area of his tier 2 tower in mid. Everybody from eu4ia makes it out alive, with the exception being the Sand King, who was caught out in the top of that fight.
Man, BeatDoxy have so many ways of seeing into those trees. There's the napalm from the Bat Rider. They have traps from the Templar Assassin. They have bolts from the Zeus. If you're trying to hide in those trees, you can't really do it if BeatDoxy know that you're in that area. They will scout you out and they will kill you. Sand King kind of had to make that play, though. There was nowhere else for him to realistically go to try to escape, so life kind of just sucks for him. But it is 10-14 right now, and BeatDoxy, you know, they're not doing like fantastically as far as their lead is concerned. Still a relatively even game in both gold and experience. But this Slark, he has a Shadow Blade, and whenever you go for this item as Slark, you need to be getting a lot of action. Else it pretty much just rots your inventory, and you're going to wish that you went for a little bit more of a hard carry Eye of Scotty type build.
Yeah, for sure. The gem on Patrico is still being controlled by BD, and if they want the Shadow Blade to work out for them, I think they probably need to kill off the Bat Rider first. Not to say that they don't have the tools to do so, but that should be on their docket.
Well, Slark is holding on to 3,000 gold right now and is going to go towards what looks like that Eye of Scotty build. They also have that Yule Scepter up on the Morphling, so even more crowd control. But they're just not looking for kills aggressively enough, I would say. In fact, it's BeatDoxy to look for another kill. They're going to blink in, but instantly Burrow struck up. LeBron Dota is going to get away, albeit barely. I don't think I've ever seen that before, with Bat Rider jumping in, slowing the lasso, and ends up getting Burrow struck on the escape. But Grazine down towards bottom lane, really wants this tier 2 tower, has been camping this bottom lane for the majority of this game. He's going to look to reinitiate on Sadika, but that pounce was ambitious, and if that would have landed, Real Toxie would have been there with the Laguna to get that kill, but whoever comes down here to defend for BeatDoxy has really got to watch their back. They know that the Slark is here, but they don't know that there's Alina until Alina shows her face.
And now they know there's a Lina, but maybe they won't expect Grazine to go this deep. Blink and Echo Slam right onto the Lina. Real Toxie is going to drop down. They even stun Grazine with the Fissure. Is going to pounce away. Makes it out towards the left-hand side. He's going to be slowed down, able to get off the ultimate, however. And they're going to guess wrong. They're going to eventually find the right spot. Grazine's going to get the pounce off. Body block by iMighty. Now with a Meld Strike and one more bolt to be able to bring him down. The damage from BD is no joke. Warfling is going to waveform over. Can they cancel his CP with the Flame Break? They can, bumping him right back down into a Troll. With a Meld Strike and a couple more smacks of the axes, that's going to be a clean 3-0 for BD.
And eu4ia, they're just getting picked apart because they're not fighting as a team. Sand King's up on top, farming up a Force Staff. Yeah, it's a nice item, but is it worth having all your allies die like that? The Item Scepter on Wind Ranger means that she's holding onto a lot of damage, but it's all irrelevant if you're not actually auto-attacking people. And now the Wind Ranger is actually caught in a hard place, gonna get slowed down by a trap. Secondary trap being set, although iMighty is going to be the one to take the Focus Fire. He will be going down, but he does get the Fissure off beforehand. Sella also gets the Wind Run off, but there's so much damage here that it doesn't even matter if she's immune to those physical right clicks. She'll be dying in trade for the Earthshaker. Not a great trade for eu4ia, especially since after that first team fight, the Wind Ranger was the one to live because she wasn't involved. The fact that she died afterwards makes that essentially a 4-for-1 in favor of Beat Doxy. Unfortunately for them, they can't go for any significant objectives afterwards, but they're getting really far ahead right now.
Yeah, and that one was the Earthshaker who already has his Blink Daggers, so dying on the ES at this point is really not important at all. 2-2 and 12. This Earthshaker play has been pretty spot on. The Fissures have come out at really nice times, and he's been rewarded because of it. Templar Assassin's going to be building into some pretty major items too. Desolator seems to be the next course of action. She's going to have it in just about 900 gold. And the Troll as well is soon going to have his BKB. And at that point, eu4ia's massive amount of CC isn't going to bother Beat Doxy as much. The heroes that don't have BKBs are going to be the ones initiating. And at that point, if they're able to get the jump, an Axadora and the Templar Assassin can just rip apart the eu4ia team.
Yeah, it's maybe eu4ia waiting a little bit too long to get farm up. Like, they are getting an insane amount of farm. Stella Bravo has that Aghanim Scepter. Maelstrom is pretty much, well, let's say everyone's tied for first. Templar Assassin, the Troll, Warlord, Slark, and Wind Ranger all have very similar amounts of net worth, but the Wind Ranger, though she is powerful in the late game, really her truest strength when she's more powerful than other heroes is in this mid game, where she has been playing a pretty hands-off role. Bottom lane, though, eu4ia, they're going to smoke up as a squad of 4, but Beat Doxy, they smell this one coming. Blink forward, LeBron looking for something. He burrow strikes all the way deep into iMighty. He gets bolted out of Sandstorm as well. Echo Slam, and that will not kill him off, but he will die in the end. Real Toxy also getting grabbed in as Grazine drops very low. Just a couple hits of this Templar Assassin. That's immediately 2 kills for Beat Doxy. They can't get their hands on the Slark, but everyone else from eu4ia, that was, yeah, not a good dive. You don't have the vision to do that, and when you blink in and hesitate, that means you're probably going to die.
Yeah, the gem on Patrico pretty much pays for itself in that last exchange because they didn't have the wards to go for that dive. Sand King blinks behind a tier 2 and finds 3, but they weren't clumped up in any way, shape, or form. There was no angle for him to get the burrow strike, so he only catches out the Earthshaker and then gets blown up in turn. It was a really sketchy dive, and eu4ia definitely need to tighten things up. Zeus is going to be pounced up, but they don't even get that kill. He might die to the chickens and will, but in the end, the Slark dies, and that's completely worth it for Beat Doxy, even though that Zeus is not going to be there for 40 seconds. It's still completely fine.
And eu4ia, they have, like, I guess they don't really have a significant advantage in team fight, but I don't really know if they've actually taken a fight. Like, they've been fighting, but it's mostly just been like 1 or 2 heroes running into 4 heroes to Beat Doxy, and that's not really what I would call a greatly executed fight from eu4ia. If they were just all together, they could actually try to get something to happen with all their crowd control, like what we saw at the top lane previously with all their stuns and damage output. They certainly can do a lot with it, but only when they're actually as a 5-man group or as a 4-man group, not when they're randomly smoking up as 3 heroes and looking for random dives. So for Beat Doxy, they're staying together, and it's really paying off for them. And it may pay off so much so that they could go into the Roshan pit with the fresh Desolator from the Templar Assassin, which is flying out, and kill him off in just a matter of seconds.
Yeah, unless eu4ia are there immediately with all 5 heroes, it's going to fall. The Bat Illusion that was placed there earlier is going to fly out of the pit. They don't need it. They have Templar Assassin traps, which are infinitely better. And eu4ia don't know that Roche is up, but Beat Doxy do. If they smoke up now, go into the pit with just the TA and the Troll, I'm tempted to say they can do it in less than 10 seconds, and maybe that's even going to be a little bit of an understatement.
And maybe even if the Troll had a Helm of the Dominator, he could just smoke in by himself and solo it. It would take a lot longer. granted, but it's a lot safer. You commit less and you risk fewer heroes. They're going to go up towards top lane with the smoke, though, where they're going to potentially run into this Wind Ranger. She is pretty threatening. She has a Blink Dagger now to potentially get out of there, but it's going to get canceled by Thunder God's Wrath. Immediately, Epicenter gets channeled, but there's nowhere to actually go. He goes straight towards an Axanor, but that's not going to be lethal. In fact, far from it, Sand King is going to get torn to shreds. Wind Ranger on the run now, but where can she actually go? She'll blink deep into the trees, has a TP, will commit that immediately. Blink forward. Patrico is going to get the Zeus range, or Zeus vision to get that lightning bolt off, and Wind Ranger is also going to die. It's a couple of free picks now for Beat Doxy. They're going to try to go into the Roshan pit. Next door, going to get jumped by the Slark. But can Slark actually do this? He gets chopped 1/3 his HP in one hit. And next door is still surviving with that BKB. Is going to go straight towards Shen. Real Toxie is here. Can't really do that much versus the Troll Warlord, though. He does get a large distance away. But Grazine bumped into the Troll. Is going to get fissured up once again. Mighty's going to try to kill off Grazine with the Echo Slam. He will. Templar Assassin still standing strong in the Roshan pit. Shen is there trying to get his Roshan denied, but ultimately everyone in Euphoria get wiped as they take 2 consecutive engagements, both of which they are not at their full strength, and Beat Doxy don't lose a single hero.
Yeah, I want to say that Euphoria aren't respecting Beat Doxy enough. They keep on taking these small-scale engagements, and the Troll doesn't even die there. Really nice defensive play from Mighty. He almost gets bashed to death by Roshan. That would have been embarrassing. But regardless, this ES play has really been bailing out Beat Doxy time and time again, and they're getting to a point where they're almost unmanageable, even though Euphoria are still keeping a reasonable distance when it comes to net worth. After that fight, it gets a lot worse. But with 5,000 net worth difference, their team can still function, but not when you're going in as these, I don't know, small attack squads into the full 5-man lineup of BD, excuse me.
Sometimes that's a strategy that you want to take. Like when the enemy team has Enigma, Tidehunter, like all of these AoE ultimate skills, and Doxy have a couple, but not really enough to warrant that specific type of strategy. Now they're starting to significantly pull ahead in the net worth. It's peaking up at 10k in gold, 15k and in experience. And I guess the late game is going to be a little bit in contention, just as far as raw hero strength is concerned. The BKBs dwindling in duration will definitely hurt Beat Doxy, but their BKBs are still pretty darn long. It's both 9 seconds on the TA and Troll Warlord. They're pretty much working with fresh items there. So Euphoria, I mean, they have to stall out this game a really, really long time if they want to get to a point where the 5-second BKB is going to be Euphoria's only chance.
Yeah, at the moment, they need a long time in order to get into this. The Zeus Ultimate's going to be dropped. They know that's not a real Sand King now. The Zeus Ultimate didn't attack it. So, well, in the end, it's just going to be a scouting Zeus ulti. But, I mean, it's not the end of the world. That cooldown's not too long.
And he also has a ton of mana regeneration, so it's not even going to hurt him that much to spend 325 on his ultimate. He'll have that back up to full in no time. So Euphoria, they end up scouting out all of Beat Doxy, which is, I guess, nice enough as far as the usage of that replicate. But, man, Beat Doxy, they have this Aegis. Where are they actually going to go with it? It seems like they could go towards any lane, really, and just go straight for a tier 2 tower push. They are going to have to respect the stunning power and the teamfight power of the Sand King, the burst of the Lina as well. But really, if they're not going to go now, are they really just going to stall out and wait till this TA and Troll are both 6-slotted? It's a possibility, but it's a very slow one that I think would put them at more risk than if they actually just went for a play right now.
Yeah, with 3 minutes left on the Aegis, I think pushing down mid is a good option, and that seems to be the course of action. D-wards are going to come out all the time as Patrico still holds onto that gem. He'll blink forward into the woods, but finds nothing. They did scout out the Sand King earlier with the Psionic Trap, but he's no longer there. BD are going to straight push through the mid lane with the Desolator on the TA. Even just her wailing on the tower should be enough. Troll's forced to defend back in mid. They're going to get a Burrow Strike over onto the TA, but she pops a BKB and now turns into poor LeBron. LeBron is not detected, but now he is. They bring in the gem, I believe, over in the sidelines. BKB is going to be dwindling on the Templar Assassin. Now she might get cut off. She's going to be dual stuff in the air. Now Zan does have an Adaptive Strike if he wants to turn. The Zeus Ultimate's going to be dropped as the Troll actually ends up dying solo to the Wind Ranger in the meantime. Grazine going to be slowed down by Psionic Trap. Blink forward. Echo Slam with the lasso. They'll be able to kill him off. Wind Ranger joins the fray with another Focus Fire. Will be able to kill off I'm Mighty. Now flying up in the air. The Yule Scepter's going to delay a little bit longer. Adaptive Strike and a stun up to Templar Assassin. Probably save the Wind Ranger, I want to say, but they'll continue the chase. Buyback from Sand King. Probably going to put an end to that as Zan is very low. Epicenter being channeled. He does have a Blink Burrow Strike. Where's he going to go with this one? Eventually onto the bat. Although he wastes a couple of the pulses, the damage is almost going to be there. They now have vision of LeBron. LeBron needs to be careful not to die here, but one Meld Strike, and that's going to be a back, whatever, to get that kill with the Meld Strike. My goodness, that's so hard to say in the middle of a team fight.
Yeah, that's a kind of inconvenience for us, but still, the team fight.
Oh my. My internet dropped for
So
half
even
a second
without
there.
having the Troll Warlord, the Templar Assassin just not being
Mike?
is just waiting in the wings. They're going to jump in towards Cella Bravo. The Wind Run's going to keep the Templar Assassin alive once again, the Wind Ranger alive once again, but Brastovac absorbs the Laguna with the shield, and now they're going to go towards the Wind Ranger. 2 shots for a kill. Real Toxie might actually get away alive, depending on how merciful Templar Assassin feels, but man, Templar Assassin has Aegis still. Like, she was under absolutely no pressure the entire time.
Yeah, definitely. So my internet died there for like 10 seconds, so unfortunately there is a down spot. I have no idea what happened. Verizon decided now is a good time to reset things. Either way, Tier 2 Tower in mid is going to end up dying, and with the Zeus ultimate, they should be able to get out here cleanly, or maybe even kill off Grazine. They catch Vision him. Now Yulson after the Dark Pack, dropping him right into a Troll. Adaptive Strike's going to buy them a little bit more space. They'll force staff him forward, but don't make him all the way down to the low ground. But even so, the distances they made is enough for them to retreat out safely.
Yeah, it is beat Doxy to take a pretty nice win, all things considered. Even though the Troll Warlord wasn't in that fight, he died doing something versus the Wind Ranger on the bottom lane. It's still fine enough because they still have this Aegis. It's not going to last for much longer. In fact, it's going to be reclaimed very, very shortly. So maybe the Templar Assassin doesn't necessarily get value off of that item, but even without that, they have so much team fighting power with now a Daedalus complete on Templar Assassin. Assuming she has true sight of her targets, and assuming they don't have, a million Yule Scepters to interrupt her, this Templar Assassin is looking at 1 or 2 shots to kill off this Lina, and maybe like 3 to kill off most of the other heroes. This is a lot of damage that eu4ia don't really have an effective way of dealing with, except for trying to stun her. But once the BKBs are up, they just have to kite and cross their fingers.
Alright, down towards bottom, there's going to be a jump in from Grazine. He's going to be able to get the latch on the TA, but the damage is too much. With the lasso over the Wind Ranger, they're going to focus it down. And that Krastovac is still dropping low. One more attack is going to be disjointed, but they still have chasing power to catch out Grazine. Grazine going to be burned down. It's beyond godlike for the Templar Assassin.
15, 1, and 4. Every single time eu4ia decide to go for this TA, they end up serving themselves on a silver platter. They don't even have like a blink burst strike there or a Lina with that burst damage to actually kill off the Templar Assassin, though the Slark and Wind Ranger are doing a lot of damage, just not enough versus the shield of the Templar Assassin and the Bat Rider being there as well. This tower is definitely going to fall. The question is how much else, what other things are going to fall, because they're going to go for more. The Earthshaker has his Blink Echo Slam ready. They only have 20 seconds to wait until there's another lasso on the bat. Shan is going to stall with the Adaptive Strike, but that's almost completely irrelevant. Zeus is going to pick off the Sand King by himself on the top lane. That's a pretty disastrous loss for eu4ia. Now there's no epicenter for Beat Doxy to worry about. They're just going to go straight in, and Shan, still he's trying to stall that with all of his forms of crowd control, but he's not actually doing any damage. Maybe he waits for another 20 seconds, but Bat Rider has had enough. He's going to jump in, lasso up Shan. 1-2 hits from the Templar Assassin, and that's another kill. Forced out the buyback from the Morphling, but now they're just going to open up on these Raxes, not focusing the same one, so maybe they're going to get range, not melee. Maybe they're going to get melee, not range, but they're going to get stalled up once again by Shen. The stall tactics are real, but with BKBs popped, and Axadora is going to claim the melee. Templar Assassin will claim the range. Mighty's going to get jumped, will not have a chance to use his ultimate. They're going to leave the Templar Assassin behind, who's going to fight to the bitter end. Grazine's going to Shadow Dance, and they will kill off the Templar Assassin. And now the rest of Beat Doxy are going to make their retreat, but they got what they came for. The Raxes are destroyed, and eu4ia are going to really struggle to deal with this.
Yeah, they really are. And they have buyback on the Templar Assassin. Even if eu4ia are able to put together the perfect fight, it's going to be a 5v5. In fact, everybody, with the exception of the Earthshaker on Beat Doxy, has buyback available. This one Rax advantage is really huge for Beat Doxy. They have a team that's really good at taking that second lane of barracks too, with the Troll Warlord and the Templar Assassin both. Although they do lose their Beyond Godlike, I'm not sure who picked that up. It was the Lina. So honestly, that isn't very terrible for BD at all. Getting the Lina a Blink Dagger or Yule Scepter would be really nice for eu4ia, but at this point they really would have liked that gold to be on Grazine.
Yeah, that would be a lifesaver for eu4ia if he gets that much additional gold. I mean, he has the Eye of Scotty, and he has Shadow Blade, which is all well and good, but he's 2-7-5. Grazine just hasn't really had the impact that a Slark with this much net worth should have, and he's very very quickly actually falling behind this Templar Assassin and the Troll Warlord both, who, by the way, is going to go for an Eye of Scotty himself, that troll. So Beat Doxy, they're going to be sitting back for about a minute, but once that minute is up, they will have all of their ultimates available. They will maybe, for Beat Doxy, have access to Roshan, depending on how lucky of a Roshan respawn timer it is. But if they do grab the Aegis and then go in for a push, I don't know if eu4ia can actually defend, especially if they keep playing. in the way that they have. Like, this is not a great playstyle for defending your base.
Yeah, it's really not. So at this moment, eu4ia are on the back foot, and it's going to be a long road to recovery here. The advantage for BD has petered out at about 25,000 net worth in their favor, and a similar advantage in experience. If they just play this smooth and steady, things should go pretty well for them. Just wait out the next Roshan before they go for a high ground push. But maybe, unfortunately for them, it's a very long Roshan respawn timer, so eu4ia have a little bit of a window where they can maybe make something happen. Lasso over onto a replicant. Pretty big loss there, as now they focus down iMighty. iMighty going to be ripped apart. Nice shackle latched also over to Sadisa. He's going to get focused down now. Adaptive struck up. Four Staff's going to buy him a little bit more space. The courier flies through over the top. There's not enough damage to kill off that courier. Buyback from the Zeus. Wanting to get back in as the troll starts wailing on the poor Sand King. He's going to end up dropping down. Pounce away from Grazine. Looks like he's going to buy himself more than enough space as the rest of the heroes from eu4ia are going to get out clean. Or maybe I spoke too soon. Real Toxie is getting pursued by a very angry Templar assassin. She's going to drop another trap, but this one's going to miss. That should be all she wrote.
Well, Doxy, they still, I mean, they did have to buy back with one of their heroes, but they don't really have that much as far as their troll. I mean, he has that BKB on cooldown right now, but they're still jumping forward for Real Toxie as aggressively as they possibly can. They just picked up a Sheepstick on Batrider, though, so having the BKB down on troll isn't really going to matter to Doxy all too much, since they do have that kill power, and the Templar Assassin wasn't in that fight for the most part. eu4ia finally gets some sort of initiation off, and we could see what they can do when they do get that initiation with all their stuns. Doxy don't really have much time to do much of anything. In fact, the Shaker literally could not do anything in that fight. But they need to replicate that 2, 3, 4, even 5 additional times before they even find themselves even in this game, as they need to take much larger scale fights. Use this epicenter to get, hit 3, 4 people, burst strike the same.
And that's really difficult to do, because that fight started out with the Batrider lassoing a replicant, and then Morphling was able to join the fray. Earthshaker was out of position at that point as well, so I'm not sure the chances are really high. With the gem still in the bat, they're going to jump forward for LeBron, and well, he's going to get smacked down by an Exodora. Not really anything he could do as the Sand King at that point, and this makes it really hard to defend the tier 2 top if they can actually push out the lane. However, eu4ia are currently knocking at the front door of Doxy. They need to fall back now.
Grazine and Shen both with quite ample ways of actually getting out of this fight. Eul Scepter will save the Slark, I think. Everyone and their mom has a Eul Scepter, it seems. Actually, no, that was Zeus's Eul Scepter. That was a misplay by Doxy. Maybe it could have worked out, but yeah, that Slark was probably going to live regardless. But they defend their top lane, and even if they do lose their top lane tier 3, it's not really a big deal, because if you look at eu4ia's bottom lane, yeah, things are kind of messed up here. There are just creeps endlessly streaming in to the Radiant base, and it's the Lina tasked with defending, which she can maybe do, but she can't easily do. Up towards top lane, they're going to force this Morphling out, replicates all the way back to base, but I mean, Doxy are just securing their item builds for now, and it looks like the 6th item slot, or temporary 6th item slot, for this Templar Assassin is going to be an Aegis or Cheese. Either one is good, but this Roshan is going to die very quickly.
Yep, well, they'll sit a little bit and decide that Aegis is going to be put onto Imba Krestevac, and that's going to work pretty nicely for them. With this Aegis, she can dive headlong into the enemy team and probably take 1 or 2 heroes with her with the first life. As long as she saves her BKB activation for the second life, she should also be fine to get out of there. Doxy are going to start a push down through the mid lane. Although Slark is there in top, his tower damage is pretty weak, especially if he gets Blink Hex. The Zeus ultimate, now a Shackle latching onto this lone tree inside the woods, is going to buy them a little bit more space, but a Blink and Echo Slam from iMighty catches out Grazine too. The damage isn't there immediately to kill off Slark, so he's able to get the BKB off and the Shadow Dance. He'll survive, and maybe will kill off the Earthshaker. No, a couple of 4 Staffs are going to get him out to safety. Grazine now being pursued by the Troll Ward and the Templar Assassin, but without the bat there and without the gem, they can't actually chase him through the Shadow Blade.
Who actually has the gem now? What happened to that thing?
Dire Courier?
Okay, so the Dire are... No. Oh, wait, no, that's the Radiant Courier. Never mind. So, yeah, Dire Courier are in control of that gem still. So, I mean, they could still go for this push even without that bat. The bat with that Sheepstick certainly caught eu4ia by surprise. Unfortunately, not quite enough of a surprise. Even with an Earthshaker combo, just was not enough to actually bring those 2 heroes down. Again, the Wind Ranger and Slark are pretty obscenely farmed for the eu4ia side, and Templar Assassin was late to that party, as was an Axadora. So, the eu4ia side weren't fighting at full strength. They're going to lose their Courier. Grazine actually has a gem chance here. Drop the TP, grab the gem. Okay, so gem now in favor of eu4ia, although Slark will get thrown up into the air by the Eul Scepter. Bolt is going to whiff, and it looks like Beat Doxy don't really have enough to close in range. iMighty does not have a fissure. They do, however, see the Sand King, who just used all of his mobility tools. He's going to get isolated in, and with the Bolt Vision, they'll kill him off. I don't really know why he had Force Staff Blink and Bro Strike all on cooldown there.
Yeah, but without any one of those tools, you can't really survive as, well, especially the Sand King in this case. Now, BD are going to be in a position to where they can start this push through the mid lane, still sitting on the Aegis and the Cheese both. They'll be very comfortable without having to deal with the Blink Bro Strike Epicenter. Templar Assassin one-shots the creep wave as they'll just walk right up because they can. The Zeus is going to drop a high ground Vision Ward, and although this is going to be de-warded very quickly, they need to be careful. Batrider is coming in hot with the Firefly activated and a fresh gem that has been purchased. Tier 3 tower is not going to last very long. Adaptive Strike will buy a little bit more space, but Blink Lasso, they catch out the Wind Ranger herself. Zeus ultimate dropped, and now Zella is going to be beaten down by the troll. Zen is there with the strength morph, but who cares about how much strength you have when you have no armor? Templar Assassin rips him apart. Now Grazine is pretty much in a 1v5 situation, although Wind Ranger does get a nice shackle onto a Naxadora. Maybe the focus fire is going to be there, but he has a cheese. He's going to pop it, now start focusing down onto Grazine. Grazine blown up, and that'll be his death. Blinket Burrow Strike catches out too, but what more can LeBron do? And Naxadora is going to be shackled up to Sadisa. Sadisa is now going to be standing there pretty awkwardly as it melee barracks is getting focused down by the Templar Assassin. She decides instead to go for range, but in the end it's the same. They get both, and now should be able to back off, rinse and repeat as they go through a tier 2 top.
So total tally of buybacks right there. There were 2 buybacks used on the eu4ia side, and they didn't even win that team fight. Beat Doxy. They used the cheese. They still hold control of the Aegis because Templar Assassin was, again, not under any focus fire that entire fight. And Beat Doxy walk away with an amazing team fight victory. They crushed eu4ia one after another. And really, I think it's because the Sand King wasn't alive at the time Beat Doxy actually started that push. You have to play your spacing a lot more carefully if you're worried about an epicenter, but with no epicenter threat, Beat Doxy are able to walk in, not really care about their positioning. Yeah, maybe they'll get hit with an LSA or a shackle shot, but those are just, irrelevant compared to the epicenter damage. So Beat Doxy don't have to worry about their positioning. They just walk in, cleanly take everything, and now they're going to look to end the game right now with Patrico up in the skies. He'll catch Grazine with the Hex. However, Stella is there. Shackle not going to connect. 2-man Burrow Strike, not good enough either, because here comes the Templar Assassin. Straight onto Grazine, has a Shadow Dance. He will be forced to use it. I don't know if he can even kill off this Batrider. He just doesn't do enough damage right now. He has the BKB up, but the bash comes through, and they will lose Grazine again. Shan is here, but probably not for long. Sadika's right on his tail. And here comes the Templar Assassin. Shan is going to waveform into the trees. Actually, not completely into the trees. You can walk through there. He will jump away to his replica, which is still in lane, but I don't really think Beat Doxy care about that. They know that this Lark just bought back. They're going to go in for the kill right now. Although they do have a tier 2 tower to work through, this creep wave is going to disable backdoor protection enough so that the Templar Assassin and Troll can just go to town. This looks like eu4ia might actually lose this game.
Yeah, it seems that way. Tier 3 tower is also going to end up falling, and this is Megas at the very least, and probably just thrown. Honestly, Beat Doxy's pushing power is more than enough. With the Zeus ultimate, or not the Zeus ultimate, excuse me, Troll ultimate, they'll mop up that tier 3 tower and the melee barracks. Now, MKB does not care about your win one. She's going to get blown up. Real Toxy, Echo Slam down, and GG, well played. Coming out from eu4ia, Beat Doxy impressed me. For a team that I've never heard of, they played incredibly well, but then again, eu4ia also looking pretty sloppy with this group of 4 stand-ins.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't really playing on the same wavelength. Their draft was, let's say, questionable, so eu4ia, I've definitely seen them play better in the past, but also I've seen them play with their real roster in the past, so hopefully they're going to get their shit together. But right now, First Blood has been drawn in the Razer ThinkFast 2 Cup. In Group 4, Beat Doxy, 1 win, 0 losses.
Looking pretty solid. We'll move on to the next series starting shortly, and well, the teams they're going to be playing in that one, it's going to be Rise versus OBS, so that'll be up next. So stick tuned here on HeflaTV 1. Shout out to the sponsors, Razer and Nether Esports, and we'll be back here soon.